Hello again, everyone, and welcome to a brand new edition of Big Time Sports. My name's Joe Dunn. Hopefully you'll stay with us the next 25 minutes because we're going to talk about a range of subjects all over Stark County, all over the state of Ohio. Let's begin by saying, hey, if you're a Cleveland sports fan, you may not have ever had it this well. You've got the Cavaliers in the NBA semifinals. Great game the other night against Detroit. How about the Cleveland Guardians in first place in the AL Central? And if you're a Browns fan, you've got the veterans coming back. They'll start practice with the veterans in the next 10 days. A lot to talk about in Cleveland, but the subject today, as always here in Big Time Sports, is high school sports. How about high school baseball? The tournament will begin next week all over the state of Ohio, the sectional and district regional tournaments. We're going to have a little segment on high school baseball. We're going to let you know who the top seeds are here in Stark County, some of the favorites to move on, and hopefully we'll bring back a couple state champions for high school baseball in Stark County. If you're a high school basketball fan, you already know the month of June is a big month for high school basketball teams. That's when they return to the respective schools and coaches. And for the entire month of June, they will have those weekend shootouts as the coaches get a feel for what they're going to have for the 2026 and 27 season. Of course, we got some new coaches. We'll have a new coach at Perry. We'll have a new coach at Glen Oak. Always new coaches, but those two guys will get their first look at what it'll look like for their respective teams as they take a look at June for an entire month of basketball. But we're going to focus on early today is a historic event in Stark County. Coming this Saturday to Tom Benson Stadium, the first annual Ohio High School Athletic Association Girls Flag Football State Championships. That's right, it's coming to Tom Benson Stadium. They had two regional tournaments last week. Up at InfoCision Stadium, they had 16 teams from the north that were sponsored by the Cleveland Browns. In fact, two of those 16 teams included Canton McKinley and West Branch. Meanwhile, down in Cincinnati, that regional tournament was sponsored by the Cincinnati Bengals. So what happened was they had four teams from the north, four teams from the south will converge at Tom Benson Stadium on Saturday to play a single elimination tournament that will declare our state champion for 2026. Let me give you a little bit of information on these teams, and we'll give you the brackets in our next segment. But for your information, we had 162 high schools that played flag football in the state of Ohio this past season. That was up from last year. It looks like flag football in Ohio high schools is going to be a big sport for the young ladies. It's going to do nothing but grow, especially because you got the Browns and the Bengals putting money in to sponsor those two tournaments. There are no divisions in flag football. There are not 7 divisions. There's only one division. Everybody plays for the state championship. And when we get to the brackets in the second segment, you're going to notice that a lot of small teams, a lot of small schools, a lot of small towns in Ohio are playing the best flag football. It'll be good to see what they do against some of the bigger teams on Saturday over at Tom Benson Stadium. Also, it's 7-on-7. It's not 11-on-11. It's a 7-on-7 tournament for flag football, which means the quarterback has only 7 seconds once they take that snap to make a decision if they're going to run or throw. If they don't throw within 7 seconds, then it's counted as a sack. So it's going to be a lot of information to talk about in the next couple segments. The fields are smaller. They're going to try and play 4 games at noon on Saturday. The fields are 25 yards wide, 70 yards deep, so it's going to be interesting to see how they play flag football on Saturday. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to let you know what the brackets look like for Saturday at Tom Benson Stadium. We're going to let you know who the 4 teams that qualified from the north and the 4 teams that qualified from the south. We're going to give you all the information you need to get ready for flag football championships at Tom Benson Stadium coming to Canton this Saturday. All that and more right after this.
Thinking about selling your car? Make it fun at Ferris Chevy Toyota. We buy all cars, any truck, any SUV, and we pay top dollar, even if you don't buy from us. It's fast, easy, and yes, car buying is fun at Ferris. Visit us on the Wabash in New Philadelphia or start online at ferrischevytoyota.com. Ferris Chevy Toyota on the Wabash in New Philadelphia.
you're only as good as your people. And what we've done here is we've created a culture where people flourish.
We don't want it to be a transaction. We want it to be something where there's a consultative approach, a relationship that allows us to really, one, ensure our customer the right way, but then two, to let them understand the value of getting to work with us.
It's an extreme amount of satisfaction for this team that we have right now. We've developed a team that is solely based on relationships.
Okay, welcome back to Big Time Sports. As we mentioned at the opening of the program, it will be a historic day at Tom Benson Stadium on Saturday, the first annual Ohio High School Athletic Association Girls Flag Football State Championships. That's right. 8 teams are coming to Canton to battle out and see who will be the first official state champion for flag football in the state of Ohio. As we mentioned, there were 2 regional tournaments last Monday, one at Info Station Stadium at Akron, the other down south, sponsored by the Cincinnati Bengals. Here's some of the news that I think fans will be happy about. It's free. Admission is free on Saturday. The gates will open at 11 o'clock on Saturday morning for the state tournament. As we mentioned, there'll be 8 teams there. Quarterfinals will begin at 1 o'clock, but the championship game will begin at 2:30. Let's back up a little bit. There'll be 4 games beginning at noon on Saturday. As we mentioned, the field dimensions, 25 yards wide, 70 yards long. It'll be 7-on-7 competition, not 11-on-11 like boys football, 7-on-7. The quarterback has 7 seconds to throw the ball, and trailing teams, I'm going to be interested in how this works. Trailing teams can retain possession if they come up with a big play. That's the way it was defined, a big play. It'll be interesting to see how they define a big play, but seemingly if you're behind in a football game in flag football, you're never out of the game because you can retain possession if you score and get that football right back. So it's going to be interesting to see how that works on Saturday. Now let you know who the 4 teams are from the north. The teams that qualified after winning down up at InfoCision Stadium, you've got Nordonia, Madison, Grafton, Midview, and Burton, Berkshire. We mentioned smaller schools seem to be playing football very well right now. You've got Madison, Midview, and Burton, Berkshire, 3 very small schools in the state of Ohio, but they're coming to Canton to try and win a state championship on Saturday. Looks a little bit different from the South. The 4 teams that qualified in the regional tournament down in Cincinnati were Hamilton-Badin, Cincinnati Notre Dame, Cincinnati St. Ursula, and Cincinnati Princeton. So you can see down south a little bit different. Some of the bigger schools have kind of dominated play down on that end of the state, while the smaller schools have played well up here in the north. Right now, let's take a look at who will be playing in the first round. Madison will be the #1 seed. They will take on Cincinnati Notre Dame. Grafton Midview will take on Cincinnati Princeton. Burton Berkshire will take on Cincinnati St. Ursula, and Nordonia will meet Hamilton-Badin. Now last week up in Akron, Madison, the Blue Streaks were the #13 seed. I mentioned there were 16 teams that qualified for the 2 regionals, one in Akron, one in Cincinnati. Madison came in as the #13 seed in Akron. All they did was win that entire tournament, and that's why they're the #1 seed Saturday morning at Tom Benson Stadium. They also had the regional MVP. A young lady's only a 9th grader was the MVP at InfoCision Stadium, a young lady by the name of C.C. Alley. All she did up in Akron was score 10 touchdowns. She also had 4 two-point conversions and 5 interceptions. So quite a day for that young lady. Meanwhile, Hamilton-Badin, they won the postseason tournament last year, but it was not an Ohio High School Athletic Association sponsored event. It wasn't sanctioned last year, so they're going to come back and try and win an official tournament. It's going to be interesting to see how they did. So some of the things to remember if you want to go out and watch the young ladies play on Saturday, gates will open up at 11 o'clock. Competition begins at noon. 4 semifinal games being played at the same time. Those winners will then play later, and the 2 champions will battle at 1:30 for the state championship, or that'll be at 2:30. So make sure that if you want to go out and watch history being made, Saturday info shows at Tom Benson Stadium, you come out and watch them play. We are going to take a break. That's not the only big things happening in high school sports. Beginning next week, we'll have the beginning of the sectional district tournaments for high school baseball. Some of the high school teams in Stark County are highly seeded. Hopefully we'll be able to talk about some of the state champions in the upcoming weeks. We're going to take a break and come back and talk some high school tournament baseball right after this on Big Time Sports.
Thinking about selling your car? Make it fun at Ferris Chevy Toyota. We buy all cars, any truck, any SUV, and we pay top dollar, even if you don't buy from us. It's fast, easy, and yes, car buying is fun at Ferris. Visit us on the Wabash in New Philadelphia or start online at ferrischevytoyota.com. Ferris Chevy Toyota on the Wabash in New Philadelphia.
You've got only one body, so why not take care of it? Let iCryo Wellness and Recovery help you live a healthy lifestyle. iCryo will introduce you to recovery and wellness with their proven techniques that will surely make your body and mind a whole lot healthier. Evaluate your lifestyle with iCryo. Don't wait. Call now, 330-451-6365.
Scammers are always looking for their next target, but you don't have to be one of them. With BBB Scam Tracker, powered by the Better Business Bureau, in partnership with Amazon and Capital One, you can easily report and look up scams, and it's free to use. Learn about scams, get tips on how to avoid them, sign up for alerts, and more. Visit bbb.org/scamtracker and help put scammers out of business.
Okay, welcome back to Big Time Sports. If you're a high school baseball fan in Stark County, you are excited because beginning next week begins the state sectional regional tournaments all over the state of Ohio. As always, there are a number of outstanding baseball teams all over the area. Let's start with Division I because there are a number of teams that have some outstanding records that could make a long tournament run. First round games will begin on Wednesday, May 27th. Glen Oak is the number 3 seed. They will take on Brunswick. That'll be a home game for Glen Oak. Glen Oak right now is right in the thick of the race for the Federal League Championship, but the Golden Eagles right now, due to their record during the regular season, are the number 3 seed. They will take on Brunswick. Number 5 seed will be the Jackson Polar Bears. Outstanding pitching for Jackson. Their record isn't what it has been in the past, but they've got 2 outstanding pitchers. Look for the Polar Bears to make a deep tournament run. They will begin the tournament at home. They will host the Lorraine Steelmen. Meanwhile, Canton McKinley in Division I is a number 9 seed. They will take on Strongsville. Unfortunately, Canton McKinley will have to travel to Strongsville, one of the top teams in Division I in northeastern Ohio. The regional tournament for Division I, if Jackson can qualify, will be June 3rd and 4th. So look for Jackson maybe to make a run if they can knock off Lorraine and then get into Thurman Munson Stadium and try and win that regional. It's going to be tough because going into that regional at Thurman Munson Stadium will also be Medina. Medina Bees are the number 1 seed, so potentially there could be a Jackson-Medina game coming up on June 4th. We're a long way away from that. We'll keep you posted on that as we get closer to those regional and district final dates. Meanwhile, in Division II, they will start tournament play a day earlier than Division I. Their first round games will be May 26th. And North Canton Hoovers having an outstanding season. As we tape this show, right now the Vikings are 17-3. That qualified them as the number 3 seed in the tournament. They will host Valley Forge at North Canton on May 26th. Other Division II teams in our area, number 13 seed Massillon will host Solon or North Olmsted. Massillon got a bye in the first round, so they will host a second round game over at Ducky Schroeder Stadium. Meanwhile, number 17 seed is Green and number 28 seed Perry. They will play at Medina Highland on May 26th. Unfortunately, if those teams get to the regional tournament will be played up at Oberlin College. Division III, first round games begin next week, May 21st. A number of teams are Division III in baseball here in Stark County. Not number 5 seed Lake. They will host Akron East. They'll be a favorite in that. Number 12 seed, the Alliance Aviators, will host Cuyahoga Falls. Number 14 seed, Louisville, will host Maple Heights. Number 29 seed, Northwest, will have to be on the road at Bedford. Good luck to all those Division III teams that will try and move on to the district and regional tournament. Meanwhile, in Division IV in high school baseball, as always, Canton Central Catholic was one of the top high school baseball teams, regardless of division in the state of Ohio. Right now in Division V, they are the number 2 seed, and they will try and advance. Number 9 seed is Marlington. Meanwhile, in Division V, the Tuslaw Mustangs are having an outstanding year. They are the number 4 seed, and hopefully they can move on. But the big thing to remember, if you're a high school baseball fan, keep track of the weather, because there should be a lot of rainouts, rescheduled games. We'll try and keep you posted here on Big Time Sports. Also, after talking to Charlie Jones, our plans may be to televise some of those games from Thurman Munson Stadium on June 3rd and 4th. We'll give you plenty of notice on that as we get closer to those dates for high school baseball. We're going to take a break. Believe it or not, if you're living in Stark County, you can talk about high school football any time of the year. And we are about 3 months away from week number 1 of the high school football season. As always, there are a number of big games in week number 1. We did a little research to give you a little heads up on what could happen in week number 1. When we come back, we're going to give you what we think are the top games already in week number 1 of the high school football season. I know we're a long way away, but it's always fun to take a look at what will be happening in that third week of August, beginning August 21st on a Thursday night and Friday night, the first big weekend of high school football in Stark County. So we're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to give you some of the top teams in week number 1 of high school football right after this.
Thinking about selling your car? Make it fun at Ferris Chevy Toyota. We buy all cars, any truck, any SUV, and we pay top dollar, even if you don't buy from us. It's fast, easy, and yes, car buying is fun at Ferris. Visit us on the Wabash in New Philadelphia or start online at ferrischevitoyota.com. Ferris Chevy Toyota on the Wabash in New Philadelphia.
With Bell Store's Bell Buddy Rewards, you save in-store and at the pump. New members receive 20 cents off per gallon as a welcome gift. Everyday savings are made easy. Instantly enjoy 3 cents off per gallon just for being a member. When you spend $25 in store, unlock an extra 5 cents off per gallon on your next fill-up. Buy 5, get 1 free. Track your drinks and earn free coffee, fountain, icy, and espresso with drink clubs. So start saving today. Download the Bell Stores app and sign up for Bell Buddy Rewards.
Beaver Constructors is a full-service general contractor delivering top-notch commercial construction management, general contracting, and design-build services across Ohio. We prioritize doing things the right way, ensuring the highest quality in every project from critical infrastructure to facility improvements. Beaver Excavating excels in heavy civil contracting for commercial, industrial, and transportation sectors. We believe in making a positive impact through community involvement and client satisfaction.
Well, it may be a little early, but it's never too early to talk about high school football in Stark County. We're about 3 months away from the opening weekend of high school football, and we did a little research here the last couple of days to try and get an early look at some of the big games that opening weekend of high school football. There's going to be some outstanding matchups. Let's start with what I think might be the best high school football game in the state of Ohio in week number 1. That'll be over at Paul Brown Tiger Stadium as Glenville comes to town to take on the Massillon Tigers. Massillon, of course, in the last 10 days have received 2 outstanding transfers from Hoban, another big tight end from up in Cleveland. Look for Massillon to have one of the top teams in the state of Ohio. But when you talk about big football in Ohio, you can't ignore Glenville. That's why that opening Friday night at Paul Brown Tiger Stadium will be the big focus of football fans all over the state of Ohio. Kind of circle that on your calendar. Glenville at Massillon, week number 1 of the 2026 high school football season. Also, there'll be 3 big matchups between local teams here in Stark County Federal League, Stark Summit County against 3 teams in Tuscarawas County. Some interesting matchups. How about Glen Oak? Matt Dennison is now the head football coach over at Glen Oak. This will be his opening season in 2026. And lo and behold, Coach Dennison will return to Tuscarawas County to take on Dover, the Dover Tornadoes. So that should be an excellent game. Should be a lot of interest down in Tuscarawas County for that opening game between Glen Oak at Dover. Meanwhile, the Green Bulldogs will be down at Inn Valley. The Braves, of course, will be without Mr. Football, Grady Kinsey. So, right, if you remember last year, Indian Valley came up and played at Green. Big Time Sports televised that game. I was over there along with Troy Richardson. It was a very close game. Indian Valley ended up winning that game, I think, by a touchdown. Now, Green goes back down to Indian Valley in week number 1. But they should have the advantage, at least on paper, because they don't have to face Grady Kinsey, who had a tremendous game against the Bulldogs in opening week last week up at Green. Meanwhile, New Philly will be at Louisville, and there will be a brand new football coach with the Leopards. Last year's coach at Louisville now has returned to Mount Union, so the Leopards with a new head coach, let's see what they'll do, but they will be hosting New Philly in week number 1. So those 3 games should be interesting for local football fans. Glen Oak at Dover, Green at Indian Valley, and New Philly at Louisville. Other big games in week number 1 for the 2026 high school football season. Canton McKinley, at least on paper, should be the favorite in the Federal League until somebody knocks them off. They'll open up the 26 season against a good team from Warren Harding. Look for the Federal League to be a tight race. I think Jackson, the last couple of years, their freshman team has been the best in the Federal League. Those kids are all getting older, but they will open up the season on the road against Chardon. So Jackson at Chardon, week number 1, Warren Harding at McKinley. Bookta will be at North Canton Hoover. The Vikings are looking for a new quarterback. North Ridgeville will be at Lake. Central Catholic, a traditional rivalry there. Central Catholic at Perry. Marlington will be at Warrensville Heights. And Alliance will be at Northwest. The Aviators without J.J. Jackson. Of course, he was a Stark County Player of the Year. That should be a close football game. The Aviators have an outstanding program over there. We'll take on Northwest. And as you know, the Indians, year in, year out, one of the top teams in their league. Meanwhile, as far as college football is concerned, if you're looking for a big game early in the year, none better than what will happen on that second week of the football season in college football. You can plan your parties right now. For Saturday night, the September 12th, that'll be a 7:30 kickoff. Ohio State will be at Texas. That should be the number 1 game in the country, and that'll be a nationally televised game. The Buckeyes against Texas. That'll be Saturday night, September 12th at 7:30. Hey, let's go back. If you missed our opening segment, the state championships for girls flag football are coming to Tom Benson Stadium this Saturday. The first time they've ever had a sanctioned event by the Ohio High School Athletic Association for girls flag football. Last week, up north at InfoCision Stadium in Akron, in the south, 2 tournaments, the regional tournaments, were sponsored by the Browns and the Bengals. 16 teams qualified for that regional, and when the dust had cleared, there were 8 teams that had qualified to come to Tom Benson Stadium this Saturday to play for a state football championship. The gates will open up at 11 o'clock on Saturday. Admission is free, and there will be 4 fields set up at Tom Benson Stadium. That's my understanding. It'll be 25 yards wide, 70 yards long. That'll be the configuration for girls flag football in the state of Ohio. There'll be 4 games going on at the same time. The quarterfinals will begin at noon. The semifinals will be at 1 o'clock. And the state championship for girls flag football will be at 2:30. Something to remember, it's not 11 and 11 for girls flag football. It's 7 on 7. And the quarterback, once they take the snap, They have 7 seconds to make a decision whether they're going to throw the ball, run the football, and the trailing team, this is an interesting concept for me, the trailing team is never out of the game. They can regain possession of the football with a big play, and it'll be interesting to see how they define a big play in girls flag football. There'll be 8 teams. Here are the matchups for the quarterfinals on Saturday, which will begin at noon. Madison from up on the shores of Lake Erie. They are the #1 seed. They will take on Cincinnati Notre Dame in one of the quarterfinal games. Meanwhile, Grafton Midview will take on Cincinnati Princeton. Midview over in the Lorraine area. They will take on a team from Cincinnati Princeton. Burton Berkshire, a small school from over in Geauga County, will take on Cincinnati St. Ursula. And Nordonia will take on Hamilton Baden. As we mentioned, interesting that some of the smaller schools in the state of Ohio have qualified for the state tournament. Last week in the regional, the Madison Blue Streaks came from a 13 seed down to win that regional advance to Canton. I know a lot of fans were hoping that Canton McKinley would qualify for the state tournament. The Bulldogs had an outstanding season. I think they won 10 football games. They also knocked off the Massillon Tigers in head-to-head competition. They did not qualify for the state tournament this Saturday, but look for Canton McKinley to be a favorite to be a top team in the area. There were 162 teams that played high school flag football this past year in the state of Ohio. That was up from, I think, about 90 teams in year #1. Last year, the Ohio High School Athletic Association during the summer sanctioned the flag football. That's why there's so many teams. Look for more teams to qualify for play next year, but right now there were 162 teams that played. The 2 regional, 16 teams qualified for the regional in the south and in the north, and then you got your 8 teams coming to Canton Tom Benson Stadium this week. An interesting concept, when the Ohio High School Athletic Association decided to sponsor flag football, they went to the Cleveland Browns in the north and the Cincinnati Bengals in the south, and those 2 organizations decided to be the big sponsors for flag football. You can look for the National Football League to be a big sponsor for girls flag football nationwide as the sport continues to grow. So congratulations to those 8 teams as they come to Tom Benson Stadium on Saturday. If you're looking for a player of the game, a player to watch, keep your eyes on a young 9th grader from Madison. Her name is CeCe Alley. She was the MVP of the regional last week up at Akron Infocision Stadium. I'm anxious to see what this young lady will do. Up in Akron, she scored 10 touchdowns. She had 2 two-point conversions, and she had 5 interceptions to become the MVP in the state tournament. So look forward to watching that young lady's play. If you're looking for a favorite, my prediction is that Madison and Hamilton Baden will play for the state championship at 2:30 on Saturday at Tom Benson Stadium. Madison was a team that played well last year when it's not sanctioned in the state tournament. They won the regional Akron. Meanwhile, Hamilton Baden won it in the South last year, won the unofficial state championship. Now they're going to try and make it 2 years in a row. So a lot to talk about, with a lot of baseball beginning next week in the sectional and district tournament, a lot of high school basketball beginning in the month of June, when high school basketball teams will return to their respective coaches for the entire month of June. Coaches will get their chance to take a look at the top teams and top players, and of course the state championships for flag football coming up Saturday. We'll see you back here next week for more Big Time Sports. Have a great week, everybody.